Section 1.6, Graphs in the Media. So in this section, the goal is really just to interpret graphs. And if you're out there looking at a newspaper, a magazine, internet article, more than likely that. But if you're out there looking at any of these things, sometimes there's going to be graphs that the writer has put into the article to try and convey information to you quickly in that one picture. Some graphs are done better than others. Some, can be actually very misleading in the way they're done. And really the goal just in this section is just to look at a couple of graphs and interpret them. And then you'll see in the homework a different type of graph that you'll have to interpret. But overall, being able to take information out of the picture is a good skill to have. So in this first example, we're just going to just jump straight into it here. So example 1, you've got this graph, and it's a multiple line graph, as they call it. So you got these different lines, going through the different years down there in the bottom, and it's representing the unemployment percentages for the 4 corner states: Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah. And I want you to compare and contrast the data for the 4 states, describing in detail at least 3 observations that you identify from the graph. So I do want you to pause for this and look at what you're seeing there and think about, at least 3 things to describe the data and what you're seeing. Okay, hopefully you did that and thought about it. And, looking at this now, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go through 3 that may or may not match up with what you have. That's fine, as long as what you have is correct or, makes sense to what you're seeing. It's good. But, you might have some other ones. So one thing here, and, old ladder guy, he's losing the battle with the ladder out there, I think. But at any rate, if you look at these lines, it kind of seems like overall the trends for all the states are about the same. They all kind of trend down about the same, and then they go up, and then they trend down about the same, and they go up. So even though there's different unemployment rates, the trends on each of them seem to be roughly following the same pattern. So they all trend somewhat close together. All right. And the next one kind of looks like from 1990 to almost 2002, like right here. New Mexico had the highest rate for the most part. There's a little spot maybe right here where Arizona came in, but New Mexico in those years seemed to be the leading unemployment rate state. So from 1990 to almost 2002. New Mexico had nearly the highest rate in all years. And then the last one, looks like if you're looking at it, another thing, again, you could have seen other things, like maybe you noticed that Utah seemed to trend towards the bottom all the way through. They had one of the lower rates all the way through. Colorado was pretty good too, and then they jumped up after 2008. But what I'm seeing, what's kind of standing out to me is that from 2008 on, Arizona had the highest rate. So If you saw some other things that do make sense with what the graph is saying, that's fine. But those are the three that kind of stood out to me when I was looking at this. So this next one here, following graph is salaries and unemployment rate for different levels of education. And I want you again to find three things that you notice in this graph. And I will say professional degree, if you're wondering what that is, that's just things like doctors, lawyers, etc. So go ahead and pause. Okay, hopefully you did think about that. So one thing that should stand out is higher degrees have less unemployment. As you go up the list, the unemployment rate tends to get smaller and smaller until you get right near the top there, and those professional degrees kind of have a little bit on the doctoral degree. But overall, as you go up the list, there's definitely less unemployment. Higher degrees have higher salaries overall. As you go up that list again, the salaries just keep getting bigger and bigger. Except for a little kind of weird stuff at the top there. And then a third thing, and again, you might not be seeing the same thing I'm seeing. Maybe you saw something different that was of interest to you. If I was doing this in class, sometimes I get like 6 different things, so don't feel bad. And then here, last one, just people with no degree, no high school diploma, have the higher than average rate of unemployment. So no degree, even a high school diploma, less than a high school diploma, the average is this kind of dotted line, the 6.8%. And all of those, if you don't have a degree or less, you're more chance you're going to be unemployed. So people without degrees have higher than average rate of unemployment. And I've known some people that don't have degrees who are doing quite well. So, you have to take this with a grain of salt. It's the averages based on, everybody that they've looked at, and not just maybe, one particular person that that's doing well for themselves that doesn't have a degree, because those people exist, But based on the data that I'm seeing here, those people would probably be more outliers than others. So that's about it for 1.6, Chapter 1. 1.6 is a pretty small section. And, again, if you have questions about these things, if you saw something different and you just want to make sure that, you're thinking along the right way, let me know and I will help you.